Hello and welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Wright alongside Kevin Robinson. And Coach, making the transition, we're about to get to outdoor season, the Rhodes Invitational this weekend. We'll touch on that in a little bit, but coming off the indoor championships a couple of weeks ago, and this is when you kind of have to cram everything within a couple of weeks of preparation. I guess the benefit of, if there is one, of not having that indoor facility is you've been outdoor practicing now for quite some time.
Yeah, I feel like not a lot's changed.
Yeah.
Not a lot's changed at all, except we're going to compete where we train now. So, I think the team's excited. We're coming off a pretty solid indoor campaign, especially on the men's side, and stepping into the outdoor season where we all feel like we're a little more competitive, a little more level playing field, so to speak. I think, we're eager to make the transition. Coming off an indoor peak and then getting into a lot more volume and back to, actually training again. They're a little beat up and they're a little, sore and tight and this and that and the other. But, it's part of the process for us. You come off one championship and then you start to plug away at the next regular season and slowly but surely start to, look forward to the outdoor championship season. And I'm excited. I feel like we can do some really good things outside. The priority right now is just to stay focused and stay motivated and stay healthy. If we can do those things and maybe get a little sunshine and warm weather along the way, I think we'll be all right.
Within that 2 or 3 week period between the indoors and then starting with the Rhodes Invite this weekend, and you mentioned a little banged up, do you put a little bit of a deload week in there, or do you have to go right out of one and get right into the other?
It's a loaded question. So we had our championship, and then we had basically a week of minimal outdoor prep, and then they went on spring break. And we don't have our hands on them during spring break.
That's so the deload week.
I assume that most of the athletes deloaded over spring break. So that being said, we brought them back this week, and we've been hitting them pretty hard. We're getting after it. We're not training to put up huge performances at the first meet or the first two meets. We're training to, prepare ourselves for the championship season. We're plugging away and we're working hard, and we're going to be tight and we're going to be sore because we're putting in the effort right now to build a championship contender in May. And it's not going to happen right now. It just takes time to build. And again, like I said, we just need to stay focused and stay motivated. Number one, above all else, is to stay healthy.
Let's talk about your teams kind of in general in different aspects. Won't hit everything on super detailed, but let's start off kind of general thoughts on the sprinters and the hurdlers.
Yeah, one of the great things about coming outside is it gives us that 400 hurdle race, which historically for us has been a pretty strong event group. This year is no different. We return 3 senior men in the 4 hurdles that all made the outdoor final last year. So we're expecting some pretty big things out of that group, and we have a couple of girls who have the ability to step up and do the same thing. The 4x1 on both sides could be a pretty solid event for us. All in all, that sprint group has really stepped up in the last couple of years, and they've been putting up performances and making themselves much more competitive, and I would expect this year to be no different. I definitely see a lot of talent in that group.
What about your distance runners?
Distance runners, we returned Martina Rodriguez to the outdoor women's slate, which, she's probably the single best female distance runner that we've ever had here. So Martina has been the cutoff to make the NCAA meet twice. She's been 13th twice, 12 go. She is hungry, she is motivated, and I don't think there's going to be anything stopping her from doing what she wants to do this year. Adding the steeple, both the men and the women, is big for us because of Julian on the men's side and Paige on the women's side. So we've got 3 guys in that group that all scored in the mile indoor. So I feel like the distance group doesn't have as many bodies like the sprint group does that are going to put up big numbers and score, but the bodies that we do have, I think in the right situation, the right race, I think they can all do really well.
Let's move off the track for a moment, talk about field events. Jumpers, of course, they're going to be on the track too at some point, pole vaulting and your throwers.
Well, I think in terms of jumps, we sat Jordy through the indoor season. He had surgery to remove a bone spur in his foot, and he's pain-free. He's jumping well. He's training well. So, you know, just his presence alone, he's one of our returning All-American kids. So his presence alone, I think, is a big jump start for that jumps group. And we're trying to get Shola back in the mix. He kind of went through the same issue, had a surgery in the off season, wasn't ready to bounce back during indoor. So excited to get both of those guys back in the mix. They're both, you know, former conference champions, along with Noah, who was runner-up indoor. On the women's side, you have Saida, who was runner-up and won, and I think she placed 5th or 6th in another. So, yeah, there are definitely jumpers there. And again, it's not a huge group, but the group that we do have are all capable of putting themselves in scoring position, and few of them are capable of going on to the national championship. So, you know, ability is great, talent is great. You know all this, I say it all the time, but we've got to step up and, you know, freaking compete when it counts, and that's the bottom line. Yeah, we've got good kids in place, but let's go to war and figure out if we're ready.
We're going to get them out in some live competition this weekend over at Rhodes. And I know you mentioned earlier in the show, you're not trying to build a championship caliber team this week. You're trying to get them to peak toward the championships, but what do you try to get out of this first meet?
Well, I think there's a lot of things we're trying to get. You know, you take the throws group, for example. Like, we haven't touched a discus, we haven't touched a hammer, we haven't touched a javelin. My poor jav throwers, they train from August until March and don't get to compete at all. So, I mean, they're freaking ecstatic. They can't wait to go out there and compete. So, yeah, it's like, where are we at? We're trying to figure out what we've done well, what we need to continue doing. You know, it helps me with program prescription because it gives me an idea of where they're at and what they need. And, you know, with the young kids, I say it a lot, we're looking for some competitive composure. You know, we're looking for kids to come out and not be freaked out because it's a big college meet. Yeah. We want them to come out and throw down and do what they do and run their race, or do what they do and not be concerned about what anybody else is doing. So that's part of growing up in track and field. So we're looking for that from our young kids. From our seniors and our upperclassmen coming back, we're looking for them to, you know, put marks up that are similar or slightly better than where they were at this time last year. I feel like if we can do that, we can stay healthy, we're off to a good start. So I think this is going to be a very, very good opportunity. If the weather permits, if the conditions will allow it, I think we're going to put up some marks. We're going to do some really good things. I think I'm very cautiously optimistic about where we're going and what we're doing. But again, I just want to reiterate that we have got to do what we need to do. Continue to train and stay focused and freaking stay healthy.
Sounds good, Coach. Thanks as always. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
That is Kevin Robinson. I'm Jeff Brightwell for the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.